From every strand on the line of your reel, to the rods, to the anglers, to the lures on the end of your hook, let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your hosts, Rob Welch and John Stoudinger.
Hi, y'all are. Cajun Rob here hanging out with you. Got a couple of great guests tonight, Trace and Mandy Meyers. How you doing tonight, guys?
Good, Rob. How are you?
All right. I'm just trying to stay dry in wet Kentucky. I think I'm back in Louisiana, much rain as we've had lately. But been kind of crazy. But for the folks that don't know you, just kind of introduce yourselves and how y'all got kind of into fishing, and just kind of go from there.
Oh, I'm Trace.
And I'm Mandy.
We're the Myers.
Yeah. We started fishing 18 years ago on our first date.
Nice.
She did. I started sometime like 98, 99, I think, in my mid-30s. And I'm from Utah, so I was a trout guy. You know, I spent all winter, all summer fishing for trout and catfish, and met a guy down at Utah Lake one day with a shiny new skeeter. God, I went over and looked at that thing. I was just amazed how beautiful that thing was. I says, I'm like, man, can I ask you how much you paid for that? He's like, $30,000. I thought, man, I'm never going to get one of those.
Little did you know how the prices are today.
Never would have imagined.
No.
I mean, either.
You know, and about 7-8 years later, I met Mandy and took her on a date to a charity bass tournament.
No,
No?
it was a buddy tournament. We argue about this every time.
Okay.
I have the trophy. Do you want me to pull it down?
Oh, let's see. Oh, it's right there. You know what?
June 2nd, 2007.
Yep, right there on the wall.
Hey, women never forget, man. Let me tell you, I've learned that lesson the hard way. So
The reason I didn't forget, though, is we took second place and he gave me the money and said, do you want to go out again? And I'm like, yes, I do.
That's a good pickup line. I've never heard that before, so that's pretty good.
Stupid, man. She gets all the money. What she does with it, I'm not real sure, but I know she don't care what I spend on my rods. So
Nope.
So there you go. That's a win-win, man.
I know. Somebody told me the other day how much my rain gear cost, and I just looked at him. I said, we spent that much on rain gear.
Hey, it's worth it. When you're in a pouring down rain and it's cold, you thank every dollar you spend on that, though.
I was very grateful in Shasta this year for that stuff. I can tell you that.
Oh, I heard that. It's all good. But what's kind of your guys' home area, or what's your best lakes around you close?
Gosh, home area is pretty big, right? I'd say 4 hours any direction from where we live.
Okay.
You know, you've got Lake Powell to the south, which is a crazy great largemouth fishery in the north, and got great smallmouth in the south.
Nice.
Flaming Gorge up north holds 5-pound smallmouth. You know, we don't get up there much because they don't hold many tournaments up there because they've got some weird no cull rules up there.
Yep.
And really, probably Lake Powell is our favorite. You know, it's so vast. I mean, it's, gosh, over 100 miles, 150 miles, something one end to the other.
Dang.
I mean, you can burn a tank of gas in one day like nothing on that lake.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories about Lake Powell, a lot of good stuff about Lake Powell. So that's an awesome fishery for sure.
Oh, it's been fishing nuts since last fall, hasn't it?
Oh, it's on fire. Like, they just pulled 20-pound bags in a tournament.
Yeah, they're catching 20-pound bags, and I mean, lots of high teens, and it hasn't fished like that for a long time.
Wow. That's amazing. Sometimes the seasons, like around here, we've had some weird seasons. Let's just this year, and how that will sometimes make a great fishing year, a great fishing season coming up. It's amazing how that works sometimes.
Yeah.
It's been crazy down there. I don't know if it's because the water came up so much. What did it come up like?
Yeah, the water came up like 70 feet last spring. It was
last year. Pretty much.
Yeah.
And I mean, man, you get up into that much new cover and everything just thrives, you know. And
they had a good spawn.
Oh yeah.
In a row.
Yeah, they had a good spawn area, all that, vegetation, and then go feed in and spawn in. So I mean, that's what happened on Cumberland. On Cumberland, they had to work on the dam for I think it ended up being like 5 years, and all these little trees, like an inch, grew up, and it flooded over. All these trees was sticking up, making good cover fish. It made the fishing a lot better.
We call them Cinco sticks.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah, it's a little. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Little sink, like somebody just stuck cane poles off
Yep.
in the shallows.
If
That's
you
what it
throw your
looks like.
Cinco there, there's usually a Cinco fish there too,
There's
right?
usually a fish there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I used to work. There's a little army base up the road from me, and I used to work there, contract there, and there's a little pond. It's full of milfoil, and I could throw a Cinco December, July, December, and I'd catch something. I'd just take a Cinco and it's spinning, and I had a fishing pass, so I'd go out there and catch them year round on that Cinco. They just loved it.
Yep.
Can't beat it. But what's you guys' favorite techniques? Do you have a certain technique you kind of like that's got your confidence technique?
Jigs all day.
Yep.
Jigs all day long. I would jig
Absolutely.
fish from sun up to sundown every day. Happily.
Absolutely. Yep. And
Man,
jig fish is always a little bigger, seems like too. I agree with you.
I just like the hook set much
Yep.
better. You can lay into those jigs a little bit heavier than, most.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then that hook set, you hear that zing when you set the hook.
You know it. You know it. You feel
Oh,
it.
yeah.
It hurts. You love it.
Absolutely.
Jig fishing's probably my favorite, but I've kind of morphed over the years. I used to be mainly a finesse fisherman.
Yep.
And well, you get your butt kicked enough times, and you tend to adapt a little bit.
Oh yeah,
And
you do.
We've had a great, man. We've got a lot of friends that do this and that have taught us a ton. So our methods and techniques have become a lot more well-rounded in the last 7-8 years, from fishing these bigger Wombass tournaments and the Toyota series when they were out west. And,
Yep.
and I've learned to love my crankbaits. I'm learning the forward facing, and I'm going to get that down. I'm tired of getting my butt kicked by all these kids doing it.
I did it off
Yep.
the back of the boat last week and put 26 pounds in the boat. So co-anglers
Wow.
can do it too. I'm
Oh,
saying.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Did they do any of the shared weight format stuff out there anywhere?
Not yet. I've heard about your shared weight format. I think that's a great idea. I mean, I've heard it, but it's not made it out here yet. But I think that's a great idea.
When it first gets thrown out there, guys resist it, but it's worked great for Wombass. They're the biggest sanction out here in the West, and they were the biggest before Toyota pulled out, before MLF pulled out, and they've been like that forever. And it takes pressure off of both the guys in the boat.
Yep.
And Mandy fished with a guy on the last day out of Clear Lake last Friday, and he was mainly, shaking a minnow, and Mandy brought in 2-3 of their fish.
Oh, I brought in a lot of our fish. Let's give me more credit. He will give me credit on stage. He did.
Oh, yeah.
He was a great guy, but he was surprised because he said none of my co's have caught fish all week because he was forward facing. And I came with a minnow, and I'm like, well, I'm going to do the same thing you're doing. And we got on a feeding frenzy, so we got really lucky. It was a blessed spot for sure, but I put 3 over 5 or 2 over 5 and 1 over 4 in the boat before he got his first one in the boat. So
wow.
It was just a flurry, though. It was just me.
Yep.
He was netting, so he didn't have a chance to fish. He's like, throw back. So I got 3 in before he could. So
we have decided that if you're with a guy that's shaking a minnow, shake a minnow with him.
Yeah.
Don't drag a drop shot. Don't drag a jig. You're not going to get nothing.
you're out in the middle of nowhere most of the time.
Yeah.
At least
You
if
are.
you're shaking a minnow, you're closer to the zone, whatever he's fishing. And I had a guy on day 2 out at Clear Lake, and I was bed fishing, and he was out behind me catching 7-pounders, shaking a minnow, and not even seeing them.
Wow.
So
That's awesome. But seem like that format would kind of make you work more as a team too. I think that's a great idea. It makes you really work as a team. That's what I do when I fish out the back of the boat. I'll try to, give myself a team. Hey, we're a team. We're both netting each other's fish. I mean, so I think that really kind of makes it more of a team feel to it, I guess you'd say.
It does 100%. Mandy's really good at it, man. She wins everybody and their dog over.
Well, because if you think about it, right? I know.
Oh,
think about this though. If you have a pro that's really stressed, I mean, like the guy that I drew on day 3, he was in 50th, but he was a local. He's fishing against his buddies. You know, he's like, I just had one bad day, and first thing in the morning we lost a big fish at the boat, and it was like it just wasn't for us to catch. I mean, it was just one of those things where it just went boom. Yep. And the whole time I'm like, we're going to do this, dude. We're going to get this going. And it is a team. So if you can keep the morale on the boat up, and you can keep, like, there's no competition between us, right? No. We're just friends. We're out here fishing together. And it just came together. And by the end of the day, he was like, next year you call me when you get into town, you know, we'll go hang out and be friend, you know, you make friends that way. So, and he moved up into check range because we worked together. So he ended up cashing check. So.
Oh yeah, it makes a big difference.
It's hard to do on Clear Lake.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you look at the top guys, and they're all from California. you know, almost every one of them. I think there was only 3 of us in the top 20
that was not day from 2. Cali.
Yeah, that weren't from Cali.
Wow.
And yeah, it's hard to get a check there for sure. We drew 186 boats, which is pretty good for out here.
Yeah,
that's impressive. Just that. Because I don't think I've been fishing BFLs a lot, and I don't think we've got over 100 boats, which is kind of rare for around here.
Really?
Yeah, it's been kind of tough this year. But the weather's been kind of flaky, and they've had some rescheduled some tournaments and cancel stuff. So it's been kind of weird season so far.
Well, are you having trouble finding cows still too that want to fish?
A little bit. And there's a lot of guys. We do have a Facebook. They have a Facebook page here where, you know, boaters and cows try to, you know, link up and whatnot. So, but I think it's getting better. There's I know down Florida, I think there's usually like more cows and boaters down there. So certain sections of country is better than others, but I think it's getting better here.
That's how it is here. They had like 30 or 40 waiting list of cows.
Yep.
Like 4 or 5 days before the
tournament,
the Clear Lake tournament.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just like certain sections is like, you know, has waiting for cows, ever has waiting for boaters, but I think it's getting better. It's getting around. But now you're talking about fishing a minnow behind a boater's fishing a minnow. Do you use the same weight, or you do a little lighter, or a little heavier? How do you approach that usually?
So that day, actually, that's an interesting question, because he was analyzing every move I made, which I appreciated, because he taught me a lot that day. He was a really cool guy. And I was actually throwing a heavier weight. I didn't know at the time. I just put on an 1/8 ounce because that's what Trace was throwing. Mm-hmm. And I put on actually a different minnow because I didn't have the one that the rumor color that was everybody was throwing. So I just put on one that we had, and it was totally different than my boater. And that's why he was like, man, I don't know if that's why you were lighting them up. And I was he's like, I don't know if they were just moving, because I was moving it faster too than he was. So he started moving it faster, but then I think it was just
they were just there.
They were there because the rest of the day, I don't think it mattered. But I did, when they were talking, it was interesting because he was a local, and he talked to the guy in first and the guy in second on the water that day. And they were doing the exact same thing we were doing. And they had gone down to what did I tell you?
16.
Less than that.
Wow.
30 second on day 3, because he said the fish had adjusted.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. They have studied it so much that he was like, they were only a foot in the water, so I had to adjust my weight. And during tournament, they were down in like 3 to 4 feet under the surface. So they were dialed in, very particular. And he was like, I guess it didn't matter with me on the back.
Yeah, sometimes I said, I know when jigs, if I got a boater fishing a jig, if he's got like a 1/4 ounce or 3/8, I'll do a 1/2 or 5/8. I try to go, you know, opposite what he does, and that works a lot of times. Now I know, talking about weights, I fished with a guy on Dale Hollow, and he was using a 1/2 ounce and a minnow.
Wow.
And killing them. He had like a 24-pound bag.
How deep was he trying to run it?
Like 6, 8, 10 foot, like 8 to 10 foot, I think.
I could see why that would be beneficial, because the way the guys were talking, the lighter the weight, the less to hold it up in the water column. Yep. So that, of course, makes sense why he would go down deeper with that. But I've never thought of that till this tournament.
Oh yeah,
I just show up with what I have in my bag normally.
Hey, you made it work.
Yeah,
hey, you made it work. Hey,
I did.
Yeah, and a lot of times I got to where if guys throwing minnow, I throw like a jerk bait. I like jerk baits, and so
Oh,
give them a little bit. And guys are pretty good. I don't know about your experience, but usually boaters say, "Hey, I'm catching them 6 to 8 or 8 to 10." They'll kind of give you a depth range where they're catching them, so they're pretty good on that.
definitely at Wombass. That's one of the bonuses is they're like, okay, even with forward facing, they're like, look over here, there's a clump of shad, keep throwing
Yep.
over here. Or, I did throw a jerk bait a little bit and he kept telling me, you want to kind of keep your bait down this way. And on day 2, I caught a lot on jerk baits behind my guy, and then we went bed fishing. So it was a totally different day. But
Oh yeah, and it's funny how you'll have like ideal conditions day 1 to day 2, and then day 2 it like totally different. They won't bite the same thing as biting on day 1. You got to kind of search around and kind of give them a little buffet of everything to figure it out. So
well, that's this guy's thing on this tournament. I mean, I'm telling you,
I was all over the map.
our practice,
You got
we
to.
caught no fish. I mean,
I'm not kidding you.
0 fish in practice.
I was staring down a blank.
And he
Oh,
went out
man.
on day 1 and sacked up 25 pounds somehow. And on day 2, another 25 pounds. I don't even
Day 1, I fished pre-spawn fish mainly. I was looking for fish on the outside of the tulies. We'd seen a couple beds in practice, but not very many. And so, I got lucky and I picked up 2 7-pounders somehow.
wow.
Just one of them was on a trash fish. You ever heard of those trash fish? Little creeper trash fish.
Yep.
They throw those. I mean, everybody on that lake probably had one in their boat that day. And I didn't see a lot of hitch run around, but first thing in the morning, there were hitch jumping near the tulies and in the brush and stuff. And I was within casting distance of a jump, and I threw at it, and he hit it right away. And that was the first 7-pounder.
Wow.
And the second one, I caught off a secondary tule line way out from the bank. My co actually saw her, pitched at her. She turned around and kind of disappeared, and I kind of threw in the direction she was heading, and she ate it. And
nice.
That's what fishing as a team can do for you,
Oh, yeah. Well, now see, on practice, you got to do like the pros do. You was eliminating unproductive water. That's what you did in practice.
Oh, that's what I told him. I'm like, now that your practice was crap, you know where not to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No, actually, that's not true, because day 2, I switched it up. I knew I wasn't, we didn't get very many bites. I only got 7 bites day 1.
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted more bites. So I you know what? I'm going to go in and I'm going to start fishing the outside tule lines for pre-spawners again, but I'm going to go in and look. Yeah. And I went to an area we found in practice where we saw a lot of big ones, like 6, 7-pounders, just sitting on secondary stuff, sitting out on the tule lines and sunning it under the docks and stuff. And obviously when they see you, they're not going to eat anything.
Oh yeah. They get their guard up.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And that's where I went the second day, and they'd moved on to the beds.
Wow.
And it was crazy. When they move on to beds on Clear Lake, you see 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12-pounders all over the place.
Everywhere.
It's crazy.
And their mood changes. They get on that bed, that mood changes. I mean, just like a switch.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
But you know what? That didn't hold out. The bed fishing didn't hold out. They weren't on all over the lake yet. They hadn't had the big push. When Clear Lake has a giant push, all you got to do is go in 4 feet minus, and you're seeing them anywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't like that this time.
Well, and then day 3, it was cloudy and the wind moved in, and so bed fishing became like a new point anyway. You know.
I got you. Yeah, it seemed like here they kind of move in stages. It'll be like, and sometimes you'll have pre-spawners and spawners and post-spawners all in the same bay or all in the same cove. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they had said they thought they had a wave already before we got there, but it had gotten so cold they'd all pulled off. So
yeah,
it was kind of weird fishing for practice. That makes sense now. Yeah, they had a cold front, so it was good time.
Yeah, it seemed like around here, I know, well, especially Tennessee lakes, TVA, it's like fish going to beds and they'll drop the lake like 10 foot. Shoot. It's like,
See, out here it's different. At least the desert lakes here, the runoff comes right when the spawn happens. So I mean, you'll see a bed one day and there'll be 3 extra feet of water on it the next.
Yep. Oh yeah, I've seen them at Cumberland do that. They'll be on the beds. The smallies will be on the beds, and like the lake will go up 10 foot, and they'll stay right there. They'll stay on their beds. They won't move up. They'll stay right there. They was like 12 foot down on like where the original like bank was. So I've seen them do that a lot.
Is Cumberland a clear lake?
Yeah, it's a real rocky. Most of the time when they spawn, they got like a little rocky shelf, but it's a deep lake, but they'll have a little rocky shelf, and they'll kind of spawn on that rocky shelf a lot of times.
Interesting.
And yeah, and they do have some creeks and all they'll go into, and some flats in the creeks and coves. But yeah, a lot of times they be on that shelf and drop that jig down on that shelf and just kind of do, and they'll get it.
Oh, that's a fun time.
Oh yeah, that's a good time. That's good times. But hey, we got a couple quick comments in here. My good friend Jeremy May says, "Hi, folks." Hey, Jeremy.
Hello.
Hope everything's going easy over in Virginia area. And then Joe Benson says, "How do you balance your wonderful family with this sport?"
Oh, that's my mom. Hi, Mom.
Oh, okay. Hey, Mom.
She knows how we do it. She's a big part of it, actually. So actually, all of our kids are grown. So Trace and I didn't actually start like doing the big stuff until the kids kind of got older.
Oh, got you.
Yeah,
They're not grown.
They're grown.
Our youngest is
20. That's grown.
Okay, that's grown.
It's grown. We got a 20-year-old, a 23-year-old, a 24-year-old, and then 30.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're when they get in their 30s. But
they're over 30. That's mine. I got one over 30 and a 15-year-old. So I got
there you go.
I'll spread out a little bit.
We get a huge amount of support and help.
Yeah.
I mean, our Mandy's mom and dad have traveled with us a few times to the bigger tournaments, and she always watches our dogs, and our kids help watch our dogs and watch the house. And
yeah, it takes a village, when you fish.
Oh, yeah.
It does for sure.
Oh,
So
yeah,
especially
definitely.
when you travel, like my daughter said, she's like, "How long are you guys home this time?" I'm like, "You get us for 3 weeks," and she's like, "Sweet."
But that does make a difference, man. You're traveling with your family and friends. It just the atmosphere. Because when I was traveling for Toyotas on the Centrals, and I had 2 or 3 buddies that we go Airbnb, and man, it made a big difference. Well, the first year I did it, I was going to stay in hotels by myself, and it just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
But when you have a group, and you're cooking and hanging out, talking, it's a lot different.
Yeah, we got a great group of Bass family, man.
I'm going to take credit for it, though, because I kept bringing them home like stray dogs.
She does.
And I keep.
She does.
And I know some of them are watching, and I don't mean you guys are dogs. They know I love them. But our fishing family is why we do this. We have probably 8 core of us that travel, 6 to 8 on a regular. And we gained 2 more this last week with Austin and Jake.
Yeah, so we get new ones every year.
Nice.
But we get a big Airbnb, and everybody takes turns cooking. And, I think I'm going to say this for me and Trace. That is for sure the reason why I've gotten so much better at my fishing is if I didn't have those guys to sit around and bullshit at the end of the day and, talk about what techniques they were using and what worked and stuff. You learn so much from your fishing family,
a ton.
Oh, absolutely.
I got this. We got this friend, Bill Brown. He's a brother to me. He's my brother from another mother.
Yep.
And that dude has taught me more in the last 5 years than I think I learned in the first, 20.
Absolutely. He is the jig fishing master. I will tell you that.
Hey, it all works together.
You get with a core group of guys, and man, we've been building this for years, and it's for a selfish reason, man. You build a core group of guys like that are willing to tell the truth and help each other. One of them is going to win one day.
Yeah, we are.
Oh yeah. Then if you have like boat issue or trailer issue, you got a ton of help. Everybody's got part. Or if you forget, like I know one of my buddies, oh man, I forgot my hooks. Hey, we got you covered. I mean, it just makes it life lot less stressful because you got backup lures and help. If something breaks down, you got a lot of help.
Yeah, I blew a lower unit last year on Lake Mead, one of our bigger lakes out here, and I was in 13th place.
Oh man!
And I got towed in that night, and man, I didn't know what I was going to do. And somehow, a friend of ours that Mandy had fished with once, he heard what had happened. He called us and he says, "Hey, I know a guy that's got a lower unit. Call him." We called the guy, and he's like, $2,800. I'll come out to the lake and install it for you. Ooh. And I'm like, okay. I'm digging through my wallet, and I had like $1,200, and I had guys throwing $100 at me, saying, "Here, man, I know you'll get us back when you get home. Just go call him, tell him to get his ass down here." And and he came and put the lower unit on, and I had my best finish in a Wombass tournament.
Wow, man, that's a
that
great
tournament.
story.
That's
Yeah.
our family right there. I mean,
Yep.
they're always like that. That's why that's
absolutely.
why we do this, you know.
Yeah, that is
Oh,
why.
absolutely. And I don't know if you ever had it happen to Mandy, but have you ever drawn the same boater twice?
Yeah, I did in Clear Lake and Trace. I've drawn Trace twice in a Wombass, and I drew my buddy Ed on day one in Clear Lake, and I drew him last year on Clear Lake. So, yeah, maybe it was a couple years ago. I don't know.
I've drawn quite a few guys twice, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've never drawn my fishing family. Like, that's what's weird is of the 8 guys I travel with, I've drawn Trace twice and Tom once, and that's it. I think.
It.
So none of my fishing family I've ever fished with. Oh, I drew Travis once, but that was a while ago. So yeah, it's crazy. There's so many guys that show up, and it was funny because the guy I fished with on day 3, I was his first woman angler he'd ever fished with, which surprised me. Yeah. He was a little hesitant. He's like, I'm not sure when I got you that morning if you were going to be like one of those girly girls, and I wasn't really sure what that meant, but he said, I figured out within a half hour I was good.
She's not a girly girl.
No, I'd say that.
She's very competitive,
mm-hmm.
and if she gets a guy with a little bit of arrogance in him, she's going to do everything she can to bring him down a notch.
Feed him a little humble pie, in other words.
That's not the purpose. It's just
it is too.
I just want him to know that girls can fish too. You don't have to be a butthole all the time.
Well, around here, I don't know about out there, but I'm seeing more and more young ladies, like college and high school, fish BFLs around here. I see more and more of them getting comfortable
that's
fishing.
Awesome.
That's great.
You don't see that much here. Most of the gals that fish are,
I think in Utah,
not in their 20s.
No, not in Utah. There's 3 of us that fish regularly. Like I know bigger stuff. I know there are girlfriends and wives that go to the club stuff, but in Wombass, my understanding is there's only 3 of us that regularly fish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's not very many. I always try to encourage. That's why I always take my pictures and post them, is because the Wombass, she's like, you're the only woman. Oh, because I don't know if you remember when you talked to me last year when I said, what was my goal for the end of 24? And I said to make the championship.
Yep.
Nationals. Boom.
Look at there. Oh, that's awesome right there. Ticket. The big ticket.
I got the big ticket. So, and I was the first girl to do it. So I've been trying to push that because I think, man, if girls got out there and did what I did, I don't think they're realizing what they're missing. I don't know. It's just so much fun.
Yeah. So around here, the high school programs are really big around here. So I think that's a part of it. And actually, we got some junior high programs that's coming up. So I think the high school, strong as the high school programs are here, I think that's one reason we're seeing more young ladies get into it.
That's awesome. I encourage them because I think they just are afraid, to step into the boys' world or whatever, but they're great. These guys are so great to fish with, and especially like the Wombass circuit, because they're not fishing against you. So they want to help you. They want to teach you, and you will learn so much. And if you love fishing, it won't matter if you're male or female. You're going to have a good time. So. Oh,
absolutely. Absolutely. And you're talking about having the same. I think I drew my boater link like twice. And it's fun. I drew one guy from Nashville. And the first time I think I caught some pretty nice ones. And I made a check. And then the second time, I called him. He's like, oh, man, I thought I got the wrong text from last year. Oh, I'm glad I'm fishing. He was like stoked I was fishing with him. That makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yep. And got a couple quick more comments. Joe Myers says, wow, you have a lot of trophies. You guys must be good.
Yeah, we fish a little.
Yeah, some of these are pretty old. This is the main trophy room. Some of these go back a ways. Well, at least to 07, 06.
Yeah,
hey, you worked hard for them, so hey, I don't blame you.
There's a stack over here that Trace hasn't hung yet because he ran out of space.
That was always one of my goals, was just to have a stack of them.
Yep.
Now we do.
Nothing wrong with that.
They're not as important as they used to be, but
no, but it's still fun to find places for them to put. So understand.
Yeah. Well, when I'm gone, everybody will want them.
There you go.
I did, I will say this. I think it was John that posted something about your jerseys. What do we do with all our jerseys? And I made Trace a blanket out of his jerseys.
A quilt.
Oh, heck. That's pretty cool.
And now all of our kids are fighting over it. So just for any fishermen watching,
it's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
That's real cool. I like that idea.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah, I got a barber. He's cut my hair for 2 or 3 years. He just opened his own shop, and I said, "Hey man, I got a jersey for you." He says, "Bring it," and he's got it hanging in his shop now. That's pretty cool.
Right on. That's cool too.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It worked out good. And we got Tyler Olson says, "Give me tips on how to catch giants."
Go with me. Go with Mandy.
It depends on where, though, because man, I would always say jigs. Jigs catch giants.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But it depends on where and when he's going.
Oh yeah, definitely. Seasonal patterns play a lot into it. Absolutely.
It does, because man, I like a good topwater bite too. They catch some good ones. But
oh, absolutely. And you get one to crush on topwater. I had my personal best at a little pond up here on Army base. Got like 812 on a frog, and she hit it 3 times. She hit it 3 times.
Wow.
And I didn't realize how big. Yeah, I didn't realize how big she was, because third time I threw it out and hit the bank, and I come off the bank, and she literally come off out of the water, and I was like, oh, I get it in. There's like 50 pounds of grass, and I like throwing this grass off, and there's a mouth like that. I'm like, holy cow!
Wow.
And I had my phone in my truck up the hill. Luckily, there's some security guys I knew. I said, hey man, grab my phone, come down here real quick. So I got him to take a picture and got him on the scale and let her swim off. So she's still swimming.
I'm jealous because I've never caught a frogfish. So ever.
It's hard. It takes a lot of patience.
No, I've never.
Never.
No.
We don't frogfish that much.
I'm not a giant frogfish.
We don't go. There's not a lot of places to frogfish here either.
Okay.
Yeah, I know guys that fish frogs pretty heavily, but
well, I don't. So I've thrown it a couple times at Clear Lake.
It's a pretty specific bite on the desert lakes.
It is.
Anymore. Clear Lake's a different story. You can throw it in a lot more areas, but on the desert lakes, it's pretty specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Chickamauga one year. I fished with a guy, and it's funny. It was a father and son in a BFL regional, and I fished with the dad, I think, first day, son second day. Son had like 20-something pounds first day. I was like, oh, man, we're on them. And we both fished a frog. I think I fished a toad, and I had like 12 blow-ups, and I tried everything. I let the frog sit there, they're just nipping at it. It's just like, and he like had one fish second day, so it happened.
Frustrating. Oh, so frustrating.
It was. Still had a fun day though. It's still a good day, but just frustrating because I wouldn't even set the hook. I'd let the frog sit there until line started pulling or something. I couldn't get a hook in them. So it happens.
That's what I found. Is sometimes that's just how they're biting it.
Yeah, or I know some guys use that as a search, like a bird dog, and you get one blow up on a frog, and they'll throw a Cinco out there or something. So
that's smart.
That's pretty good. I've seen guys do that, so pretty good. But what has been the weirdest thing that's happened to you on the water?
Oh gosh.
D-rated.
Yep, D-rated. Yeah, it's not late enough here. It's only 8:30 here, so.
Yeah.
Man, gosh, I don't know.
Weird. Oh, not weird, but I saw. This is kind of cool. I don't know. I had I was on where was I? Mojave. That's where I was. Yep. And they had a coyote trying to drag a live carp out of the water, and that carp was bigger than the coyote.
I'm pretty sure that carp weighed more than the coyote.
Oh, it was huge. It was huge.
Wow.
And this coyote was like freaking out because there was a coyote coming over this side. We were coming into the bay. There was a coyote coming this side, and he really wanted it, and it was kicking his butt. He could not pick it up.
Wow.
That was one of the cool things. What else did we see?
Gosh, I don't know. We've got to see a lot of critters on the water. There's areas that have a ton of sea otters.
Oh, have you ever heard the Shasta thing where you call the the bald eagles in?
There you go.
No, I hadn't heard about that. What's up with that?
Yeah, so I witnessed that for the first time. Not this year because it was too rainy, but last year in the rain, we caught a fish, and one of the guys said, "Hey, have you ever called in a bald eagle?" And I'm like, "No. How do you call in a bald eagle?" And we had a fish that was like, he was alive in the live well, but he was struggling or whatever, and But he was alive when we let him go, and he swam away, but we watched it later, and he goes, watch this, and the guy whistled. And sure enough, this bald eagle came right down and picked that bass up right out of the water and took it out.
You can hold them in the air. If you hold them up like this, they'll notice them.
He says if you get one that's dead, that's like he's like, we always throw them the little 8-inchers, the 8 to 10 inches or whatever. He's like, you pick them up, you whistle, and you swing them around your head and chuck them. He says they'll come flying in every time. And it happened to me right there on the water. It was only, it was only like a 13-inch fish. It wasn't very big, but that eagle came and took it. That was very cool. Because
I bet that was. Oh, yeah. I had one fly over our head at Del Hollow, and it was huge. I mean, it was like 4 foot over our heads, and we was just like, wow.
They're beautiful creatures. I mean,
they are.
I'm in awe of them when I'm around them. It's just huge.
I had a dead cow once that we were catching fish off of down on Lake Mead.
A dead cow?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had that after a flood on before. Yeah. Wasn't nothing around it, though.
I'm like, don't hook that thing. You don't want to have to get a hook out of you.
Nope. Cut your line. I'd cut your line. That's what I'd do.
Gross.
Man, yep. I think the coolest thing I saw was on Cumberland one time. Me and my old team partner, there was a cliff, and there was like, I think that's a female fox had a little den, and this male fox would go around, and she'd bark at him, and he would like go around and circle around her, come back. She'd bark at him, he'd go around, and this cliff's like, it's almost straight up, and he'd run it. And it's amazing to see one, but two like that. That was and we was like 50 yards from him or whatever, but it was just constant. He was running and running. So I don't know what's going on, but pretty cool. Great. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But I think the craziest thing ever happened. I was at Cumberland and had a young kid. It rained the night before, and he stayed at a hotel, and he had his plug out. Well, I launched him out, get in the boat, and then we're sitting there, and I'm like, hey, man, your bilge is going crazy. He's like, oh, man, I forgot to put the plug in. I said, hey, man, don't sweat it. Just go up there. Somebody's got a trailer. You can holler at them and, run up on the trailer, and it was cold. I said, they'll, let you borrow your trailer. He's like, no, I got this. Kid says, hold my ankles. I'm like, huh? Strips down to his underwear. I got him by the ankles upside down, and he's scuba diving and putting the plug in. I'm thinking, luckily he wasn't about 130 pounds. I'm like, this is not going to end good. But he got it in there.
Oh my!
He got it in there. But I'm glad it was dark and nobody could see what's going on because I'm holding this kid upside down. And he's scuba diving, put the plug in. But that's the weirdest thing I had happen.
Dude, that happened in Clear Lake on day 2. There was a young kid floating next to me at blast off, and he's in his boat, and the guy looks over and he goes, "Dude, you're sinking." And the back of his boat was underwater, like the hole where the motor was, and there was 2 giant dudes on this boat, and so it was already kind of heavy anyway.
Ooh, not good.
And his co goes, "Dude, I was gonna tell you, there's water in the bottom of the boat." And I'm like, "What do you mean you were gonna tell him? Why didn't you tell him sooner?"
Yep. I've had that happen at it's a BFL regional down in Georgia. I was at Lake Eufaula, and I had a young kid. It's funny because I had an older guy that was his roommate day 1 and day 2, and he had like an old I can't remember what Blazer or something, Charger, but anyway. So we run all the way down to the bottom of the lake, and we're fishing. And right before we go, I'm like, "Hey man, does your boat always sit this low?" He's like, "No." Open the rear hatch, and the water's up to the batteries. Puts the bilge on, nothing. And he's like, I got it, man. Yeah, so he hot wires the bilge and starts working. I'm like, oh, good. Go to the next stop. Bilge quit working altogether. So only thing he had on his boat was an old dock bumper, like a big football. So he cuts it in half, and every time we stop, we're bilging water out with our hands. We had boat. Every time we stop, hey, you guys okay? Yeah, man, we good. But it come to find out, it was rough day 1, and I guess the bolts to his jack plate was loose and it was leaking through the hat. So, then he caught a nice fish. I had a couple, and then we was coming to luckily where the weigh-in was, there's a slip. I said, all right, man, there's playing. So as you get close, I'm going to run, jump off, get our bags, come back. We're going to hurry up so the boat don't sink. And time we did that, waiting the fish come back, and there's like this much water like under the console. But the boat ramp was just like around the corner, and literally we loaded the boat up, we talked to his buddy for like an hour, and it was still like draining out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was interesting. But I at least told him, I said, "Hey, man, is your boat always sit this low?" I was like, "Might want to check on that." And sure enough,
Yeah. Might want to mention it sooner. I know
Yeah.
as a pro, we didn't like to point out flaws in the boat, but water would be one that we
Water
should.
and around your feet would be one.
yeah, I said I didn't really notice it when we started taking off. I'm like, a little low, ain't we?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
Yep. And kind of along those lines, Joe Myers says, "What is the strangest interaction you've had with someone during a tournament?"
Oh, that's a good question.
She didn't say good or bad. She just said strange.
Oh man, last year I had a guy that I drew at a Wombass tournament at the U.S. Open, in fact, which is the biggest one of the year for me. It usually draws around 250 boats.
Wow.
I think it was my day 3 guy.
Yeah.
Showed up like 45 minutes late to the parking lot where I was supposed to meet him, and I was pretty uptight and anxious by then.
Oh yeah, I imagine.
They're about ready to start launching, and he gets out of his car. The first thing he says, "Do you have a fishing license?" And I'm like, why would you ask me that question, number one? And why in the heck are you 45 minutes late?
Yeah.
Apparently, he'd drawn a guy the day before, or his son, who was fishing as a co at that tournament, had drawn a guy the day before, and they actually got pulled over by the Fish and Game, and his license wasn't updated. Oops. And they made him dump their fish.
So he wanted to make sure that before he started with my husband, they weren't going to get to dump the fish. Never mind that he was 45 minutes late to launch. Yeah. Like I was like, should I get off the boat and come launch you at this point? Because I'm already in the water and he's freaking out. Should I get off and come get you? And he's like, no, he'll be here.
Well, number one, he should have explained himself why he's 45 minutes late. It better be a good excuse. That should have been number one. Just
number one. Number one.
And what was yours?
Oh man, I don't know, strangest. I've had really good pros. I've had amazing pros, except for one time. Oh. One time only that I can think of. And I don't even know this guy's name. And if I saw him again, I wouldn't recognize him. But it was my first divisional that I ever made. So it was the first time I made the state team and went to divisionals. And I was so nervous.
That was for Bass Nation.
Yeah, for the nation. Yep. And then we went to Clear Lake. And I was so shaky and nervous. And the only thing I'd caught fish on was this little like Bubba shot type drop shot, like with a margarita mutilator. So that's all I had. That's all I had, right? So we go out, and the first thing the guy says to me, first he was pissed he drew a girl. So he was right away just kind of a jerk.
Had a bad attitude right out the gate.
Right out the gate. The second thing he says when we pull up to our first spot is, are you really going to throw that all day? And I'm like, why do you care? I'm on the back, you're on the front, you do you, I'll do me. Yeah, like that was kind of how I left it. I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. And so I put 3 fish in the boat. He hadn't caught any. And so he was like pissed off. He pulls up his trolling motor and he takes me and sticks me in a foot of water in some reeds for the whole rest of the day and wouldn't fish. He was like, I'm bed fishing. And I'm like, where? Because I'm literally in mud. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, we'll bed fish. And I just kind of sat on the back of the boat the rest of the day. And when he took me into weigh-in, he dumped all my stuff on the dock and didn't even come up to the stage because he had blanked. He didn't want to go up to the stage. And then back then with divisionals, you were supposed to go with your pro and co together.
To stay together.
Nope. I can't. He's like, go weigh your fish. And when I came back, my rods, my tackle box and everything was sitting on the.
So you didn't have to give him gas money?
I didn't give him gas money.
No, I wouldn't after all that treatment. No, I wouldn't have. I don't blame you there. That's a rare case, but I'd agree with it on that case.
That case I did. That is really in 18 years. That is like the only time I've had a really bad experience. Yeah.
I've been lucky. I don't think I've had some boat breakdowns, but I've never had anything like that. Thank the Lord.
I've never had a terrible experience. I've had some guys that were a little frustrating to fish with, but I mean, It is what it is. Bottom line is if you're wrecking them, then the guy in the back of the boat ain't going to mind unless it's a draw tournament and he's not getting anything.
Yeah. That's a little different.
That is a little different. We did see some nice interactions on shore with some people that were participating in recreational drugs.
Oh,
but
geez.
those are for a whole nother story. You know, when you're on the water, you see some crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah,
Mhm.
you'll, and like I don't know about out there, but up here, you'll see some crazy stuff on the boat ramps. Like you'll have somebody backing down a dang pontoon, and they take up like all 4 or 5
Oh,
lanes, and they're going like this. And I'm like,
You
and
found
like,
my biggest pet peeve right there is to be in line watching I've offered to back guys down so
Yep.
many times.
oh,
Mandy's a whiz at backing the trailer.
Well, after
Yep.
18
She'll
years, I
shock a
should
guy.
be. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I was lucky. My granddad taught me when I was like 13. When I was on, I lived next door and he was on a farm, and he always told me, put your hand on the bottom of the steering wheel. If you want to go left, you go left. You go right. So that's how I
There you
learned.
go.
I was
There you go.
13. So, but yeah, I've seen. Oh, we was down in Cumberland one time. Me and my partner, we was just fun fishing, and a guy's backing down the ramp to get his pontoon. Comes halfway up, runs out of gas, and it's a one lane. It's a 1-lane boat ramp. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Oh man.
And we're like 10 miles from any gas station. So time he gets his buddies, get the gas. 45 minutes later, I'm like, killing me, Smalls. You killing me.
Oh, I would have lost it. I probably would have just went. So I don't know what
Yeah.
I'm floating out of the way.
Well, it was fun fishing, so it wasn't as
Okay.
bad, but it's still aggravating. But we was like, what can you do? So
Yeah. What can you do? Nothing.
yeah, just laugh and go on, and we had a good night fishing, so it turned out good.
Well, that's
So,
good.
Yep. And got another quick comment. Trevor Tippett says, "Do you ever quotation marks go Ike?"
Oh man, Trevor, I love you, buddy.
oh, sound like you know each other.
This is a good story. Good job, Trevor.
Trevor's my son from another wife. Well, he's an adopted son.
He's an adopted fish.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Like
okay,
16. I drew him at a Bass Nation tournament when he was 16, 17 years old, and kind of took him under our wing. He's a great guy. Went out to the Classic with him in, like 2012. It was on Red River, Louisiana, Bossier City. And
I was not there, just for the record. So what happened there?
Yeah,
happened there.
We had a good time.
He was unsupervised.
I was unsupervised, and we got some Go Ike gloves or something that I was giving out at the Classic, and we were waving those around, freaking people out.
And there was a contest, I'm pretty sure, that Trevor was going to enter with one of his photos. Trevor might be able to comment back about it. Was do the best Go Ike impression.
And it was a little too crazy, so we took it down immediately.
Yeah, it was a little it's a little inappropriate.
We were unsupervised, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
It happens.
I think he would have won, though. I'm just, for the record, I was going to say I think he would have won. I think Ike and Ellie would have thought that was funny.
I do too.
Oh, heck. Probably would have. Knowing Ike, he probably would have.
Yeah, we've met Ike. I think, and now that I know him a little bit, I think he would have found it funny.
Yeah, he would have.
Yeah, he's got a quirky sense of humor. I kind of see that.
Yeah, we actually stayed next to him on Lake Mead. He was in a houseboat across from us. He gets so much attention, he tries to keep to himself, but man, you corner him, he's just like talking to you. He's a great guy.
Yeah, Steve Kennedy. I think that year we had Ike and Ellie, Steve Kennedy.
Gosh,
Brett Height.
Wow.
I know I'm missing pink guy. Yeah, who's the pink?
Oh, Kevin Short.
Kevin Short.
They were all right there with us. Sorry, Kevin, but they were all right there with us, and we had a great that was a great week on the water. I can tell you.
I bet that was entertaining, like every minute.
Everybody had their own houseboats, but everybody kind of hung out in the evening on the deck, so it was a good time.
Yeah.
Oh,
we had a carp tournament one night off the dock, and Ike and Ellie was doing the announcing. He was running from guy to guy. It was pretty awesome.
I can see him doing that.
Yeah.
But I think I met Ike way back in like '99. They had a Wrangler amateur tournament, bass tournament down in Knoxville, and I lived in Knoxville at the time. And it was like, I think he had just gotten kind of going real good, and they had him kind of coaching up the guys. It was a tough tournament, and he was like, "Hey guys, one fish and you're in this." He's trying to hype them up, cheerlead them. So he did a pretty good job.
He has a really cool kayak too. He brought it down.
Oh yeah.
That thing is sweet.
Looks like a mini battleship.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does.
got so much stuff sticking off of it. You just
Yeah.
like, wow.
Now, I'll tell you what, his son Vegas is a heck of an angler. I mean, and it's funny,
Really?
his son Vegas knows more about the forward facing than Dad does. So I think
That
Vegas
does
has to
not
teach
surprise
Dad.
me. That
Yeah.
does not surprise me. Has anybody seen Trey McKinney? I mean,
Yeah.
anybody shocked by that?
Nope.
Those young kids know that forward-facing stuff really well.
Yeah, well, I heard one guy, he had a good take on it. He says these kids, they play video games and they can multitask, doing about 5 different things, 5 different things at once, and that makes sense. Because like, I don't know about you, Trace, but I can't do more than one thing. I can barely like
Yeah.
tap my head and I can't rub my belly at the same time. So.
Yeah.
No,
Good
that's
point.
No,
point.
that's a good point. No, but we put our daughter on the front with it like 2 weeks ago, and she'd never seen it. She caught fish with it right
Yeah.
away. She was like, "This is easy."
Wow.
Yeah,
She missed her call and she needs to be a FFS coach.
that's
There
what
you
I'm
go.
saying.
Yeah.
So,
'Cause that is a skill and a talent. I'll promise you. And then Joe Myers says, "What's gonna be your theme song when you walk across the stage at the Bassmasters Classic?"
Go Trey. No, okay. So I can't make it, right? Obviously, I get to go to the nationals, but that's far as I get to go. But
Yep.
if Trace will qualify this year, I'm putting it out there because he's already sitting great in points.
Nice.
So if he qualifies and he gets to go to the classic, what's your song?
the goal is that we both get one of those tickets.
Well, yeah, that's
for
this year, but
2026.
still, what's your song?
Rocky Mountain Way.
All right.
Love it.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
It
And
fits,
it-
right?
Yeah, and if you go to the Classic in Knoxville next year, that's like a couple hours from me. I'll be there. So
Oh,
you need to go there, man. We need to hang out.
Let's go.
I'm-
Let's plan on meeting there next year in Tennessee. I'll go.
I love the
Yep.
classic. We've been twice now, and man, if anybody out there that has never gone, if
Please
you love
go.
to fish, man,
Oh, yeah.
there's so much to do. 3 days ain't enough,
No.
and the weigh-ins are awesome, especially championship day, and the expo is so crazy. I mean, we didn't get to see it much last time
Because we had to work.
because we were working a
Yep.
booth.
Yep.
But I mean, you could spend 3 days at that expo and
Oh,
not
yeah.
really see it all.
Oh yeah, and all the new products, and I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's amazing. But I think I've been all but the last 8 years, maybe 2 of them. Last couple I didn't make, but yeah, Knoxville is great. And I lived in Knoxville for about 20 years, so I can tell you where to go, where not to go, where to eat. So any advice,
Perfect.
hit me up.
Perfect. When Trace makes it, we'll all go celebrate then.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. There are some good places to eat and a lot of great stuff. But it can be a tough fishery. But like everybody, there's 2 lakes. There's like Loudon, where Knoxville is, and there's Tellico, and they're 2 totally different lakes. Loudon's kind of a muddy water, flip pitch, and then Tellico's kind of a smallmouth, gin clear water. So they're connected by a canal, but they're just totally 2 different lakes.
Wow.
Are they going to be fishing both of them then? They can lock through?
Yep, last 2 classics, Dave. Most everybody's made to run down to Tellico. And Tellico's kind of a long run, but almost all except for maybe a handful, made to run down to Tellico.
So they're going to
And
be
it's more
fishing
like
for
a river.
smallmouth?
It's a reservoir, but it's more like a river, basically.
So are they going to be fishing for smallmouth?
It seems like smallmouth kind of play first day or 2, and then they kind of tapers off, and then seem like the guys on the Loudon, the flipping pitchers, this largemouth kind of play in toward the end, seems like. But you don't have to have a combination of both.
That's interesting.
Well, since you're giving out fishing tips, you ever been to the LaCroix River in Wisconsin by chance?
No, I have not, but it's on the wish list.
Dang it. I'm going in October to the Nationals. So, any tips, hints, tricks for a Utah girl?
2 words.
Yeah.
Swim jig. That's like a religion up there.
Really?
Good to know.
Swim jig. Yeah, that's where the old guy that used to fish FOW all the time. That's where he's from, and he's like a swim jig guru. So swim jig's really good up there. Frogging's supposed to be pretty good, but swim jig's like a religion up there. So,
That's good. We got a giant box of them we don't use.
Yeah, we got.
yeah,
a lot
there
of
you go.
those.
There you go. But
I'll just
yeah,
have to
that's
tell every color.
there
Yeah.
you go. You'll get them figured out. But yeah, swim jig is pretty cool. I've dabbled in them a little bit, but I'm like you. I just like the old flipping pitch skipping jig. So
Yep, all day.
yeah, but it literally is a religion. But it's like lighter line, like 15-pound test, like 1/4 ounce or 5/16 jig. So it's a little different up there.
Well, good. Well, I'm going to hit it up, everybody who wants to give me tips and tricks. Hit me up.
And you can look back. I know Bassmasters had a bunch of events up there at FLW, so you can review old tapes and look at areas and see what they're fishing. So that's another good thing. You can look at.
Oh yeah, I'll be doing my research. Don't you worry. I did when I went back east, so we'll do it when we go again.
Oh yeah, you got to.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely,
it's just different than here. Totally different.
Oh yeah. That's like when I was born and raised South Mississippi, South Louisiana, and I moved to Knoxville, and I was like lost. I was used to 4 and 5 foot muddy water, like clear was like 2 inches. Then I go to Knoxville, and it's like 4 or 5 foot and rock. I'm like, I was lost for about a year or two, but finally figured it out.
Here, clear water is 30 feet.
Wow.
Lake Mojave, you can see the bottom in 40 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard if you drop a dime down, you can like see it 30 foot down or 20.
Yeah, I was like, areas and it's crazy how clear it is.
That's a crazy lake.
Makes it tough fishing. Makes it.
Oh yeah, imagine. But you got to figure it out. If you practice, you can figure it out.
Well, that's the plan.
Yep, I heard that. Well, we're at 55 minutes. I'm going to give you the last few minutes to thank people's helped you along the way, or folks that helped you along the way. So I'll give you the floor for the next few minutes, and floor is yours.
Oh man, all our family, they put up with a lot over the last
all of our
couple decades. We're gone quite a bit, and everybody chips in, helps us out, cheers us on while we're gone, and you can't put a price on that. They understand the passion we have for it, and they can see the success that we've had, and they're a part of it, and it's made it an awesome thing for us both.
And our fishing family, because that's why we do it. All of the guys that we travel with, that's the reason we go. We were missing several of them this last week, and I told them all how much we missed them, even though they had very good excuses. At least one did. The other did not. Wow. But it's cool. It's cool. We'll see them at the next one.
There you go. Yep.
And a big shout out to Bill Brown, because Billy.
Yeah, my brother Brill.
Good.
And Justin Cavello at Pepper Jigs. He's another brother from another mother.
Yep, we can't forget him. He always helps us out with jigs. He's our jig man.
They're a jig company out of Colorado. They've been around for decades, and this is the only jigs that we throw.
It is.
And thanks to Bill Brown. Bill Brown was the one that Bill taught me how to throw a jig. I taught Mandy, and he probably wishes he wouldn't have now. Because I'm getting close. I'm getting close to him now.
Yeah, we actually fished for the Lake Powell against him, and we thought for sure we beat him in November, right?
Yeah.
I think we lost by 0.02.
Not very much.
Ooh, wow, that's close.
I know, it was very close. That was a fun tournament, and those were big bags. They were like 17-pound bags.
Yeah,
so
17, 18.
It was good. If we're gonna lose, at least we lose to our brother. That's the one thing.
Yeah, there you go. He can finish first, you can finish second, or vice versa. It's all good.
All the time. Well, him and Billy and Trace have been doing that at Wombash. They were both like right up in the top 10, and the whole family was cheering for them all. Bill's taken like 4th, I think.
He took 8th last year at Clear Lake, and that's dang good for a guy that's not from California.
Because that's a lot of hammers. That's a lot of hammers in that tournament.
Well, and he's from Colorado. Who knew Colorado guys could fish, huh?
Wow. That's off to him.
That's what I'm saying.
It's all about family and making friends. I mean, we've got friends from one end of the country to the other. We got guys to help us just about anywhere we want to care to go.
Yeah, when we got in that wreck, I mean, we had people in St. Louis that reached out, and I mean, it was just the fishing family is vast. So
I had Brian Thrift trying to make sure I had enough tackle and had a boat and everything. He didn't know me from Adam, but he knows a friend of ours really good, and he was out there, so we called him, and and he's like, "Man, if you need anything at all, just let us know." And people come out of the woodwork, didn't even know.
Oh yeah. I've heard stories like guys get all their stuff stole, and guys donate all their stuff. And it's funny. We've talked about this before. It's like fishing is a big community, but it's kind of small and tight knit at the same time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Take care of us, man. Take care of
our absolutely.
Own.
Yep. And we embrace it all, and that's why we do this. And so we wouldn't do this without them. That's why we.
Yeah. Absolutely. Enjoy the ride, and enjoy all your family and friends. I mean, you can't beat that.
Yep. And life is very short. I learned this, my last guy that I fished with, his father passed away a week before the tournament. And he
Yep.
said to me that morning, he says, we are going to go out and we are going to fish like it's our last day fishing because I don't know what happens tomorrow.
Yep.
And I said, that's exactly why we're out here fishing is we work hard to play hard. So
Absolutely.
that's what we're going to do for the next few years till we figure it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're just about empty nesters. So, yeah, you're
Yep.
about to go in that next phase. So that's great.
Yeah.
We're about to move somewhere warm.
Man, we're still trying to decide, so we'll have to let you know.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know for sure.
And
But,
yes,
yep.
if we go to the classic, we're definitely going to hit you up next year so we can see you.
For sure.
I'll be there. Because both my sons live there now in Knoxville area. So I'll definitely be there.
Awesome.
But,
Great. We'll stay in touch.
Yeah, definitely. Anything y'all need. And if I ever get a chance to go out there, I may travel out that way this fall. So if I do, I'll hit you up.
You
Heck
better.
Yeah, we
You
got
better.
plenty of options out here, man. If you come out here, let's go.
Oh, absolutely. But guys, hey, I appreciate you being on. And we got one last quick comment. Joe Myers says, love you guys. You're amazing.
Well, that's our 20-year-old. So we love you, Beans.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But well, hey guys, continue success for you guys, and we'll be tuning in, and hopefully you get to that classic next year. That'd be awesome. We go hang in Knoxville and go eat and hang out. That'd be awesome.
Sounds
Awesome,
good.
dude.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rob.
All right. Hey, thanks guys. Y'all take care. Enjoyed having you on, and y'all have a blessed week. And for the rest of you, thanks for tuning in, giving likes and comments. We'll have my old friend Rusty Odom, who just won the side pot over the weekend. So I think he's won like more than anybody. So good friend of ours and good friend to shows. But again, thank you to the Myers, and catch you on the flip side and catch you on the water.
All right. See
Thanks,
you later.
Rob.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
You too.
All right. See you.
See ya.